Kseniya doesn't need a major introduction because her Instagram does all the introducing itself. Her Instagram's almost 19,000 followers. She's getting business continually from Instagram. And what she does on Instagram to get business is so duplicatable and not overly hard. I think a lot of agents overthink how to actually do content creation. So what we're going to do today, if you'll let me, we're going to go through and we're going to talk to her about how she's coming up with her content ideas. We're going to go through the content she's doing. We're going to go through how she's converting and getting leads through Instagram. We'll talk a little bit about her numbers. I think it's really important to understand that where people are getting business from. What I like most is talking about where people get conversion, because I see so many people talk about how, oh, I'm getting so much business from something, or look at all the views, and they don't get any business from it. So Kseniya is actually closing business from Instagram from these simple tricks. So Kseniya, welcome.
Thank you. No, I'm really excited to be on here. I did join Reel about a month ago, so this is perfect timing. It's like my first webinar with Reel, so I'm really excited to share what I've learned over the past, really it's been less than a year. I kind of started doing these home tours in April, so it kind of took off from there. Before I was always doing Instagram, but the home tours has kind of been the biggest success rate for me. So I'm
So
excited.
real quick, how long have you been in real estate for?
I have been in real estate for almost 7 years. So
Okay.
it's been, I was new to Tampa. So I was brand new to Tampa. I did open houses my first couple years. That's all I focused on. And then when COVID hit, I started really doing strategy behind my social media. And that's kind of when I started getting consistent clients from Instagram. And then this past year, it really kind of has changed my business a lot. So this past year has been the biggest growth through Instagram for me.
Okay. And how long have you said about 3 years then in Tampa?
So in Tampa, I moved in 2017. So I moved here and I jumped right into real estate. So about six and a
Awesome.
half years. Yeah.
Perfect. So if anybody's new to a market or is struggling on Instagram, drop a one in the chat so I can see that you're actually here paying attention to what we're going to talk about next. So here's where we're going to go from here. Okay. So you were doing Instagram. Were you finding before you made your tweaks, and we'll talk about your tweaks in a second, were you getting business from Instagram or was it just a hobby?
No, I was still getting business from Instagram. It just wasn't as consistent. Like I get people messaging me almost every day now, sometimes multiple times a day. So it just wasn't to that capacity, but I was still getting deals from Instagram before that as well. So it was working for me. I was doing a lot more personal content as well as some professional content before. And now I feel like there's just so much real estate content to post that I honestly kind of don't have time to post the personal anymore, but it's still very important to do personal, and maybe that's something that we'll touch base on.
So you don't post very much personal stuff on here at all anymore. It's all more business related. I really love is that everything is very consistent on your Instagram. If you look at mine, it's so sporadic. You can tell I don't have a plan. And so we'll go through your plan here in a minute. But yeah, it's all straight fastballs down the middle business when you look at your Instagram page here. So what was the shift into going more just straight professional?
So I just kind of I decided to, after going to the conference last year, the real estate video blueprint conference, I was like, let me just stop trying to do something super creative. Let me stop trying to reinvent the wheel. I know that home tours work. I know that voiceover videos work. So I wanted to kind of dive into changing that strategy. And for me, usually whenever I try new lead generation, it takes about 90 days for it to really determine whether I'm getting leads from it or not. So I think the 90-day mark is a good way to test out whether what you're doing is working. So I was like, for the next 90 days, I'm going to post 5 home tours a week and I'm going to do the voiceovers. And if that works, like I'm going to keep doing it. If it doesn't, I'll tweak some stuff. So I did it and it really like just took off. A lot of them went viral. Some didn't go viral. And then I was like, I need to keep doing this. So now I just do 5 videos a week, and then I have to still promote my own listings and promote like other educational material. So at this point, I really just don't have the time to post like personal stuff because otherwise I'll be posting on Instagram like all day long. So I'll still do like posting if I go travel or if somebody visits or something like that, but I just don't really have the time in the day to post the personal things anymore.
What I like you just said is you said that I already knew that it was going to take 90 days to get business. I think that's really, really important for all of you to hear. You know, when I grew my YouTube channel, everyone reaches out to me and wants to know how to do YouTube, how to do YouTube. And as agents, we all want the quick fix. And when agents reach out to me about YouTube, I say, well, how are you getting business now? And how are you going to double down on that until YouTube starts to pay off? And the answer is, well, no, I'm going to do YouTube. Well, you were doing before you started really blowing up, you were doing open houses, you were doing everything that an agent does. And so that's good that you recognize that it's a 90-day curve because I see agents and Dan Parker's on here. Dan Parker also does really, really good job on YouTube and he can attest. It's like 4 to 5 months when you actually start something, just like when you're learning to script practice and do expires which runs. When anything you're doing, it's all repetition. And then once you build up that like momentum, then the momentum takes off. And Dan said 1 year before he closed one deal on YouTube lead. And then Dan, since the 1 year, how much have you closed since that one lead and staying consistent? So for you, staying consistent, 5 posts a week is really, really important. What's the process to create 5 posts a week? Or walk us through how many posts a week, how many stagnant posts, and how many reels are you posting?
Yeah, definitely. I try to batch it as much as I can. So we have a lot of new construction here in the Tampa market. So it's kind of easy to batch a few new construction videos because you go in, the model homes, all the lights are on, you walk in, you take the video, you walk out, and then you go on to the next community or the next model. So I usually am able to knock out quite a bit if I choose to go to new construction. And then I like to switch it up. I also like to do resale homes as well because our new construction tends to be further on the outskirts from the city. So I know a lot of relocation people want to live closer to the city. So I also do resale homes. So when I do the resale videos, I try to line them up with my showings. So if I have showings that day and like one of them is really cute and vacant, I'll ask if I can take a video of it before the clients get there, or if it's the last house of the list after the clients get there. So I try to be really efficient with it. And if none of them are good for video, if none of them are cute homes, then I try to find another one around that area that I'm showing homes in and just knock out a quick video. I think the hardest part is if you have a market where things move really fast, which is why new construction is good because those homes will stay listed for a while. Whereas if you have a really cute home, you can't really batch that like a week in advance because it might sell. So that's kind of nice way to buffer if you want to do batch content is kind of do a couple new construction just so you know that they're going to be evergreen and they're going to stay for the next like I don't know 100 to 200 homes that they're selling in that community, and then do the resale ones to kind of fill in the blanks as well.
Okay. So is it just reels you're trying to post every day, or are you doing stagnant posts as well and carousels? Like, what does the posting structure look like?
So for me, I definitely try to do reel every day of the week. Not Saturdays or Sundays. I don't get as much engagement those days. So I do Monday through Friday and I do it between like 3 to 6 p.m. because if you have a creator page, which I recommend everybody to have the creator Instagram page, you can add music. It's better than the business page because business page has a lot more limits to the music you can use. So you can't use a lot of the trending sounds. So I would do the creator page and then it shows you the analytics. So for me, people are most active between 3 to 6. So that's when I try to post the reels. And then I do stories throughout the whole day. So I am basically always showing what I'm working on or doing. And I show like my pets on it. And that's kind of where I show more of my personal stuff is the stories. And then stagnant posts, I do probably about 5 to 7 a week of stagnant posts too. I don't do as many like informational carousels. I tend to do more like listings of homes because a lot of times people want to see the house. Like they don't really care as much about the education side of things sometimes. A lot of times people will message me like if it's a really cute house and they want to go see it. So I think the just pick out some really charming homes in your area and then also pick out like really cheap homes in the area. People like to share those. They like to comment on those. just things that you know will really excite a buyer. So either super luxury, super cheap, or just super charming. Those ones tend to do well.
So when you're creating the posts, how are you coming up with the content to create the post? Well, I want to get into the reels because everybody loves the reel and the video content, but I think the posts are probably, I mean, like this post right here, I'm posting 63 likes on it. You posted this 3 hours ago. Pretty good information here. Not a lot of comments yet, but we can go through that in a minute. But you know, you can get some permanent jewelry courtesy of whatever offering. So, how are you
That's
coming up
for
with
an
the content for the
event.
post? Okay.
Yeah, so this is for an event I'm throwing on Saturday, so that's just kind of market the event. For sold ones, this particular client wanted to stay private, so I couldn't really share too much details about our journey. But there I do try to share the client's stories. That one's for this webinar. So it just depends. And then for the reels, it's always home tours pretty much. For the stagnant posts, it's usually posts of cute houses. Sometimes it's educational things. Sometimes it's news about the current area or like maybe a restaurant coming soon. It just kind of depends on what is going on in the market and what I feel like posting. And then I try to kind of share some of the lifestyle as well. I do some restaurant ones as well from time to time, and a lot of times the restaurants love seeing that, love being shared. And every single Friday, I share like a Follow Friday story. So I pick 3 small businesses to kind of shout out that are local. And a lot of times they reshare my stuff. So we cross market with each other's audiences. And then I love helping small businesses. And then we kind of sometimes end up collaborating on events. So it's a good way to kind of get out and meet people while still being behind your phone.
What's interesting, I like that is that you're talking about businesses, on YouTube. And Dan, maybe you can put in the comments here and I'll read the comments. I usually tell people not to focus on businesses, and this is for YouTube, unless it relates something to real estate or the area you're talking about, right? So if you're talking about like a coffee shop that close by is this neighborhood, so here's what you're getting as far as a community. Um, I like what you're doing because I think on Instagram it's a little more impactful because of collaboration, but it doesn't really work the same on YouTube. So you're saying like once a week you try to promote a local business. Do they reach out to you then to like, hey, can you come promote us? Or do they give you any like ad deals or any like reciprocity back and forth? I think you might have said that, but I was also reading your page here.
No, so for the shout out stories, it's literally just like a picture from their, and I'll post it later today. I haven't posted it yet. It's a picture from their page and then like a little blurb about what their page is or like what their business is. And then I tag them and I basically call it Follow Fridays, and I tell people to follow them and then they'll repost it to their story. And then I do get messages from small businesses that ask for shout outs as well. And it depends on the business. Like if it's something that I don't think my community is gonna enjoy kind of seeing, I probably won't post it or I won't share it. The food ones, I know you just showed a food one. Those do really well, and I have gotten invited to restaurants for free. So I have gotten some stuff like that. Not exactly like a brand deal, but it's nice, free, good restaurant food for restaurant openings. So I've loved that part of it. But I just love, like, me and my husband eat out all the time, so I love kind of sharing the food on Instagram. I also get a lot of engagement from it. People save it or they share it or they DM me about it, because the biggest thing about stories is it's very important to create stories that you think people will DM you on, because that's the easiest way to connect with somebody is through DMs. Like if they're afraid to, no one's gonna like cold DM you to start talking about their life. They're just gonna cold DM, they're gonna answer to a story. So it breaks down that
Got it.
barrier.
Okay. So I know everybody wants to hear about the video, the reels part of it. But I think it's really important that we all hear a couple of things here. Number one, it's just not the reels, it's posts, it's promoting local businesses, it's promoting people, telling a story of what you're doing as far as closing homes, things like that, that are relatable, and really being like an advocate for your community. let's get into the video part of it because I know a lot of people are wanting to know. Before we do that, Dan says, I don't promote local businesses on YouTube because it's not part of my plan. I think it's better strategy for Instagram. So right on the money there, especially if you are consistent. One of the bigger benefits I've heard is making connections with business owners and getting reshares to get exposure to their audiences. So perfect. I just hired a videographer, and every time we shoot, he's like, we need to tag this business. We got to do a post about this business. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you just trust me. I'm like, okay. Uh,
I
so,
have
um,
like
so,
sorry, I'll interrupt you real quick. I have
no,
tagged businesses and I've done the Follow Fridays and I've gotten clients that are the business owners that were didn't
nice.
happen to know a realtor and I guess started following me after I tagged them and then they reached out and needed to sell their home or needed to buy a home. So it's gotten me like actual business just from those Follow Friday posts, which is pretty cool. So it's definitely worth tagging businesses whenever you can. It promotes your traffic and also it can like cross promote your audiences and then those business owners they'll eventually need to buy or sell too, so you never know.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually helped business owners that I've done stories on sell and buy homes. And so that little free 20 minutes it took you to walk in, take a couple of things, do a voiceover on, and then post turns into 70, 80, $100,000 in return. So pretty good markup on the return there. So let me ask you this. So shooting content, shooting the video, putting this out, do you have a videographer? Because I know this is a question a lot of people want to know. And if you have questions about video, put them in the chat and I'll continue to ask those questions. So everybody, please do that. Do you have a videographer? I want to know that question. Are you shooting yourself? Well, shooting content yourself. And what strategies are you doing for both of those, if you're doing either one?
So I have videographers for specific things. So I have videographer for my listings. So direct listings, I always do a professional video on those. And then I have a videographer for like neighborhood tours. So basically I have a relocation guide where it links to neighborhood tours. So for those like big, robust kind of videos, I do hire a professional. And then I also have like a videographer who sometimes will put out like some creative videos, some promotional videos, like intro videos, things like that. But for everything else, like all my home tours, I do all of that myself. I film it myself, I edit it myself, and I post it myself. So all of that's myself. It's really just if you go and look and you'll be able to tell which ones are professional. It's usually the ones that I'm walking in. It's like my full body, everything that's like a selfie video, I film that myself. So it's raw.
Okay.
And then I edit in CapCut.
CapCut. That was going to be the next question. So you're editing on CapCut on your phone or desktop or computer?
I do it on my phone because I
Okay.
know for me it's just quick, it's easy. It takes me maybe 5 to 10 minutes to edit.
Mhm.
And that's including the voiceover. So I know that if I took the time to upload it to my computer and to edit there and then download it, it would just add so much unneeded steps for me. For YouTube, it's totally different. I've edited YouTube videos before too, not to like your capacity, but it's a lot harder to edit YouTube's. And you kind of just have to put as few barriers in front of you before posting to Instagram as you can. And I think people like the raw content. They like that you film it yourself. Because people are getting kind of tired of some of the polished content, I think. And that's why TikTok is so popular too, is people like the raw, unedited, unfiltered stuff. So I just do it on CapCut. I do my voiceover on CapCut and then I add captions on there and it's all the free version. I don't have the paid version.
Amazing. So super easy to do. So I have a question because I've used CapCut kind of. Is there ways to, because I see you speed ramp a few things. Is that easier to do in CapCut? Because I've tried to download that and then do it on Final Cut. And I find it takes me 20, 30 minutes to edit a video, whereas it sounds like it only takes you 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's super easy. I don't know how to use any of those like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro
Okay.
program. It's super easy. You can snip. So I always like snip clips. And then I don't do my voiceover like all at once. I'll say a sentence and then I'll pause and I'll say another sentence. And then you can line up the voiceovers so that you don't actually have an actual pause in the video because people hate pauses when they're watching these things. So I think that it's super easy and then you just click a button to speed it up, you can choose what speed, and then you can snip the video footage where you want the speed to end, if that makes sense.
Okay, good. So where did you learn how to do that? Because that's, I feel like most agents, when it comes to simple things like that, that for maybe you or I, when we do something wrong, it's really easy. For them, it's overwhelming and kind of daunting to figure out how to do that. So what's the best way to figure out how to actually edit on CapCut and do it effectively?
I kind of just played around with it. It's very similar if anyone's on TikTok. It's like the exact TikTok editing that they have. But if anyone is confused or wants to know, I can always do like a screen recording and I can send it if you want to blast it out to everybody or something like that. I can send it out and then it's pretty easy. Once you kind of see the options, I literally just use like three options: snipping, speeding up, and then voiceover. Oh, and then I've started adding like that little money sound when I say the price. So,
Okay. And that's what's really cool about some of this stuff. So no, it's funny. No other brokerage or people are going to go, yeah, I'll show you how to do it. Right. They're like, yeah, just go figure it out. So I love that answer. So I love the collaboration part of that. As far as the editing part, though, I think most agents, if you just start playing around with it, you'll start to actually figure it out. It's just the process. Um, what I do like about CapCut, I was playing around with it with Will Draper the other day. He was trying to show me some things. All of the text, because people go, how do you get the text in the videos? All the text is in there, the voiceover, the all of the AI that you need is actually in the app. In fact, I did a class the other day showing how to use, and maybe we'll do that on the next one. Maybe we'll bring it back and we'll actually just play with it and show people
yeah.
how to do it. But I did that with the captions app and showed people how to edit on the captions app, how to add the text, how to do that. And that was really, really good. Rodrigo says, how do you add the money sound?
So there's a little tab that says like audio. You just click audio and then it says sounds. And then I just, in the search bar, I put money and then it's, it's like the first one. So yeah, they have a bunch of sounds. And then they have a bunch of style, like fonts, text. And then I always do like, to grab people's attention, like I write the price of the house and then the neighborhood. And then I make that an animated kind of like entry. So there's different versions of animation. There's ones that like pop out at you. There's ones that like do a ripple effect. So I play around and I do different ones with each video. So that's in CapCut as well.
What kind of phone do you use?
I use just an iPhone and I actually have the old iPhone. I need to get the new one. I have the one with the 3 still.
Do you shoot in 60 frames per second or do you shoot in 30?
I do 60 frames per second. And then there's a setting on Instagram as well to upload in 60 frames per second and in high quality. So I upload in that and make sure when you're exporting from CapCut, you also like take the little dial all the way to the right and export in 4K and 60 frames per second.
Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Because when I download for CapCut, it says, do you want to do it in 30 frames? I should probably change it to 60 frames and it'd probably look better.
I think
Good
it looks.
call, good call. And because that's what I like about your stuff. It looks super crisp, right? If we're looking at the quality of the content, and that's the difference between shooting on 30 frames and 60 frames. So for anybody that doesn't understand what that means, Dan Parker, because Dan Parker has no idea about shooting content. Wink, wink, kidding. Basically, what 30 versus 60 frames means is that's how many frames per second the video is taking. And so that's more data per video. So it will add more data to your phone. But what it does is it's taking more information all at once. And so you actually get a much crisper, cleaner. Now you can shoot 120 frames. I think it's a little much. But what the cool thing about shooting in 60 frames, then it's also easier to slow down and speed up as well, because there's more data for it and it'll look cleaner. So if anybody's asking about that, and the easiest way to do that is when you're opening up and you're going to shoot, right? So I pull up my phone, I hit the camera button, and in the top, let's see, how do I do that?
Mhm.
When I go to video, in the top right, you're going to see where it says 4K and then the number 30. Just click the number 30 and it'll immediately change to 60. Pretty easy there. Um,
Yeah, the other thing you mentioned about the speeding up. So I actually this and obviously like I'm still getting better at stuff. Like there's still stuff I need to improve. But one of the things that helps is to walk slowly. And every once in a while I'll be like wearing heels when I film these videos and you can tell like it's like bouncing a little more. So try to wear like flat shoes and walk slowly when you film. And the hardest thing is to, if you, so I use a gimbal, I forgot to mention. So
Which one are you using?
it's the DJI Osmo.
Perfect.
It was like $100. And
Yep.
then I use that as a phone stabilizer. And I film directly through the app, the DJI app.
Dan says no, he'll stop wearing high heels.
Yeah, it definitely like you can tell. And then I use the DJI app. I film through that app because my
Okay.
videographer told me it works better. And make sure I feel like we probably should do another class because there's so many things about this, but there's a button to calibrate. So I always calibrate my phone stabilizer before I film each time, even if I'm filming like I get in my car and I film another house, I still stabilize it because it gets messed up. And then you can tell like the video will be crooked. So it makes sure that your video is straight. So I do that as well. And then, so when you turn like to a different room or you try to turn, do that really slowly because sometimes the gimbal like really whips it around. So I still mess that up sometimes.
Yeah, I hate using the gimbal. I literally somebody messaged me. I put a YouTube video out one time and you saw a quick picture of me in the mirror and I was literally walking like this and like, dude, you're not using a gimbal. I'm like, look, the stabilization on the phone is enough. Like I don't need to. And it makes it look more raw when you're holding it, but I agree. It looks way better on the gimbal, but I hate that when you're turning around and it goes like
It's
that. It drives me nuts.
yeah. No, you
Okay.
have to be like really mindful of it. And sometimes I forget. So it's still, you can tell which videos I forgot.
So, how much of your content, as far as your video content, is straight walkthrough videos versus any other? Walk us through like the percentages of um, information about you in a reel versus just property tours.
For reals, it's pretty much all property tours and then restaurants, basically. And then if I do like something fun, like around town, I'll do that too. But they're primarily all home tours. So I
Okay.
found that to be the best content for messages, for DMs, for conversion. I know we were going to talk about conversion. I found that to be just the most fruitful. And I've done some educational stuff and for me, it just it's a lot less difficult for me to just go take a house tour and talk about the house than it is to come up with ideas for educational things. Like you and Dan are really good about coming up with educational things for your YouTube videos. I'm like, how do they come up with all this stuff to say? Like I run out of things to say. But yeah, I think that the home tours are easy if you don't want to be like thinking too much about new ideas every week.
So let's stay on the home tours thing then. So when you're walking through, take me through. Okay. So I'm going to show homes today. I have these homes I'm going to show. Here's three cute homes is your words, not mine. Three cute words. Three keywords. Three cute homes I'm going to shoot while I'm out. Take me through the process then of what you're going to say in the video, how you're going to shoot it, how long it takes you, like just the process in your mind when you're shooting because obviously you're doing this now. So now you already know, like, I need to make sure I hit this or this or this or this because that's going to make the video better. So walk us through. I'm at the house, I'm out of the car, I've stabilized the gimbal. What's next?
Yeah, so I always make sure that the house is pretty show ready. So a lot of times listings will have the blinds closed or like something else that you need to adjust. So I always make sure I open all the blinds and then I turn on all the lights. And then as I'm doing that, I'm kind of paying attention like which route would be best for me to walk in. So I always try to show the most attractive parts of the house first. So whether it's the kitchen or it's like a really nice primary bathroom, sometimes layouts aren't very conducive for the video and it's kind of cumbersome. You have to like go back and forth a lot, but just make sure you show the most attractive parts of the home first because people will get bored. And then I only do homes that are staged. I don't do empty ones. Those don't do very well at all. So only do staged homes. I try to do only vacant homes and it just depends on your market. For me, it's easier to just pop in whenever I want to a vacant home. I always ask the agent, but it's a lot easier for my schedule. It's a lot easier. I don't have to worry about like the homeowner coming in or the homeowner texts, like seeing it on Instagram, being upset or something. It's a lot easier with vacant ones. And usually they're staged by professionals, so they just look better. So I walk in, I make sure everything's ready. I stabilize my gimbal. I walk back out from the front of the house and I literally just do it all in one take. I walk through, I hit the best parts of the house first, and I end in the backyard. And then I remove the gimbal, and then I just do it like from 0.5, but like this way, like from the back of the camera. And then that's where I go out in front of the house and I do my intro where I speak and I say like this house, here's what you can get for 550 in whatever neighborhood I'm in. So I always say the price and the neighborhood.
So you shoot the whole house first and then come back to the hook. So the hook is always, here's what you get. You're very consistent with that, and that's what's great. Here's what 500,000 gets you in X part of Tampa, and then it's straight through to the walkthrough. I had another question there, and I started talking, and I totally forgot what my question was. Uh, that happens. Drop a question though if you do have. Oh, I remembered it. Do drop a question though about the shooting if you have a question as far as that. As far as the audio when you're doing that, are you just using the phone's audio or are you doing any other audio?
Yeah, I just use the phones. Every once in a while it's annoying if there's like a lot of cars around, but it's just I don't have a mic. To me, it's easier to just do it on my phone. It's usually a pretty good sound. And then in CapCut, you can actually increase the sound as well. You can increase the volume when you go in and edit. So you can do that if you need to.
Wow, such an easy tool to use, free tool. The thing that's already in your pocket. See, we always make this so difficult, right? The thing that's already in the pocket, $100 gimbal, the Osmo 3, 4, 5, whatever one's the newest one out, they all work the same. And calling the agent and just saying, hey, can I walk through your property and I'll tag you in it.
Yeah, so so every once in a while an agent, I get this question a lot. Every once in a while an agent will say no, but what I usually do is I say that I have a client coming from out of state, which I usually do have somebody from out of state interested in a neighborhood, so it's not a lie. And I say like I'm previewing homes for them. Can I look at the house? And then while I'm there, can I shoot the video? And then can I put it on social media? I'll write your name in the caption. And like 9 out of 10 times people say yes, 9 out of 10 times, but every once in a while people will say no, and then I just don't go, don't go. So it's their loss.
Okay, so now you've got the video shot, you've got it edited, you're gonna post the video. Great time for the question, Keith, because that was gonna be the next question. Now you're posting the video. What are you putting as far as the text? Is there any calls to action in the text? In the video, when you're doing the voiceover, it doesn't sound like there's a call to action like, hey, call me if you want more information. But what are you doing as far as the titles in there and then the tags? What does that look like for your process?
Yeah, so I feel like it's common for a lot of realtors to leave stuff out, like information out, so people reach out to you. So a lot of times agents will leave out the price, which I found that's like the most important thing. So I always say the price. What I leave out is the address. So people usually will text me or DM me and say like, what's the address or where is this? So I always say like DM me, that one's RSVP because it's an event. But I always say DM me for a showing or for more info. Or I say if it's new construction, DM me for the list of current inventory because our inventory, I don't know about your markets, it's such a pain to get from builders. So I always have an inventory sheet and I have my assistant compile it into like a nice looking sheet. And then it has like my logo at the bottom and stuff. And then I'll send that to them when they DM me. So it looks super polished and professional with new construction. For these ones, I'll just send them a link to the house and then I ask them like if they want to see it basically.
And the
But yeah,
link, is that from your Lofty website or is that from the MLS? What is that from?
no, so I'm so bad. I need to sit down and like do the lofty thing. I've done some of the trainings on it, but I just haven't taken the time to tag everybody and done it. But I do want to start using the landing pages and utilizing that CRM because that's kind of my next goal. But right now I just have my contacts in the lofty. I don't really use it properly and I should. But it's just a link to like Zillow or through our MLS app or just one of those links. But yeah, and I try to keep the caption pretty minimal because a lot of times people aren't on Instagram to read a lot of things. At least I know I'm not. I'm trying to, it's a visual platform. People want to see the pictures, they want to watch the video. So a lot of times I just kind of keep the captions minimal. And then I also don't want to share too much information with the videos on the caption because I want them to watch the video.
So like this is just a stagnant post right here, right? And so this is kind of an example. How charming is this West Chase bungalow built by at David Weekley in Highland Park? So you tag them, great. Listed by, okay. And then so basically your tags are West Chase, Florida, Highland Park, moving to Florida. I use that one all the time. I use moving to Florida and Texas just so people get thrown off. I'm just kidding, I don't. But every time I go moving to, it automatically populates Florida. It drives me nuts.
Oh, really?
Tampa real estate, David Weekley Homes, David Weekley, Tampa Realtor. Okay, so this is probably what I'm not doing right. Probably need to be doing Austin Realtor, Austin Homes. That probably be much better. Craftsman Bungalow, interior design, home decor, home design. Sonia, make a note. You're gonna have to go through and go back and retag all my past posts. Okay.
So yeah,
Sonia's
the
like, damn
tag,
it, another thing to do.
I know someone asked about it. The tags are really important. I think especially hyper local tags, like we were saying, like Tampa Realtor, like the actual neighborhoods. But then I throw in some like broader tags as well, like design, decor, whatever, especially for videos, because a lot of times people are searching on Instagram for inspiration, like dream kitchen, dream backyard, whatever. I throw in those as well, or backyard goals, or dream house, or if it's like $1 million home, I'll throw in the $1 million listing one, luxury realtor, like things like that. So there's just a mix of them.
Ellen Poole, hi Ellen, good to see you. Says, would it be possible to see an example of an inventory sheet? You're just talking about like when you go into David Weekly and you grab the sheet of what they have available, right?
Yeah, so I grabbed that sheet and then I had my assistant basically put that information onto a Canva template, and it's pretty nice. I can send it. I don't know, should I send it to you or however, but it's pretty
Yeah,
nice. It's got like a
if
picture
you
of the
send me a
house.
copy, I'll add it to the email when Sonia's going to put out the review later. Actually, she's probably going to put out the review right now, but we can probably send it in the Monday email. Like, hey, from last week's interview, here's the link for the video, and then if you send me anything, we can add that in too.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
yeah. The only thing is it's just I don't know how often your builders change prices. Is ours are probably like quarterly, so I'm gonna have her go in. It's like a new project she just finished, so I'm gonna have her go in and update that at least quarterly. I know Matt Light. I don't know how to say his last name. He's also at Real.
Likens.
I know he does it too, and I think he updates his like every 2 weeks. But for us, we have so many builders here in Tampa. I feel like she's not really like full time. I feel like that would make her like full time if she had to update that and then do everything else.
When you put those sheets out, where do you end up posting those sheets? You just post them on Instagram, or where do you post the availability?
So my next like project for my assistant is to create landing pages for each of the communities and put the sheets on there. So that's
Oh,
kind of the next thing she's doing. Yeah.
Sonia, the light bulb just went off over her head because she's like the only picture I can see. I saw the light bulb go off and she was typing a note. I'm going to create this for Jeremy. I saw it. It's great.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
assistant, she's
So
amazing. She's not even assistant. I can't even get to give her that title. I gotta give her like a really cool title, like
director of operations.
badass chick, chica, takes care of all the things Jeremy can't do. Like it's a long title. We'll get an acronym for
Right on top of it, Rose.
it.
Um,
Go
but yeah,
ahead.
I
Sorry, I
think
cut you off.
I don't know, you're good. Yeah. So other than that, I don't want to really put it on Instagram like publicly because I don't want like my local realtors to take it and use it as their own because it did take my assistant a lot of time. So I just have it, I'm gonna have it as a landing page, which I'm sure realtors will still go on and take it or whatever. But yeah, right now it's something I just individually send out to them. And honestly, just over DM too. I just took screenshots of it. It's a PDF. I just took screenshots of it, and whenever I do a new construction community tour, people always ask for the inventory. Like that's a super common, super
Do you
easy.
find that when you do that though, like give out that much information that people just use it? Because the problem I run into in Austin is I have a lot of people that want free information, and then as soon as I give them any information, they totally ghost me because they got what they want. So do you feel like putting out the inventory sheet and giving that to them maybe loses you business, or is there a way that you convert those?
Yeah, so I mean, sure, some people will still just go to the community on their own, right? And kind of just do their own thing. But I have some salespeople that are actually really great in some of these builder communities that they know that I do these videos and they ask the people how they found out. And so they try to have my back on that, which is really nice. Not all of them, but hopefully all of them in the future will do that. But yeah, like every once in a while people will ghost you and stuff, but it's kind of one of those things where I'd rather like provide the value than just to be like, I won't give you the prices, and then what are they going to do? Like they're just going to go on their own anyways. So I send it to them. I always keep up with them. I'm like, do you guys want to go see it? Do you want to let me know if you have any more questions? And then I try to update them. So I wish, so one thing that I've done is on Instagram, you have the close friends list. So I need to put more effort into doing it, but anybody that messages me about a house, I like add to the close friends list. So right now I've been doing that for, I don't know, a couple months now, maybe 6 months, and I have like 225 people on there. So it's pretty good way to keep track of everyone that's DM'd you. And every once in a while, I'll go back through that list and I'll like engage with those people so that they like remember that I exist basically. And that's kind of an easy way to keep track of leads without forcing them to sign on to your email list because not everybody wants to be on your email list yet. Like they're always in the beginning stages. So a lot of people that reach out looking at new construction, they're moving down to Tampa in like a year or a year and a half. So I'm hoping that list is going to be a useful tool. At the very least, it's an easy way to kind of group everyone together and know who's reached out to me because I'm sure people forget who's in their DMs as well.
So on the business side of that, when you do it, you can click on it and there's actually so like let's say Catherine DM me from Boston, right? So if let's say I wanted to talk to her about some things or maybe get some business from her in the future, in the top corner, I hit the tag and then I go over and tag her as a lead.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't done that.
So that's on the business one.
I wonder if
So
they're ours.
the other thing I'd recommend, and maybe this is something, so this is something like Sony and I work on, is putting together email lists. So we have Lofty as our CRM, and we're going to couple this with a couple other things, right? So we're going to use Stand Store and then Zapier so we can like post everything. So this is the process we're going through. But through Stand Store, anybody that comes through, you can say, hey, if you want to get on my monthly newsletter of all of the community information as we put it out, we'll send it to you and get them to register. And so then what you could do with your assistant is once a month, all of those things you screenshot, just have files. Hey, what all the top new neighborhoods or whatever, and then just have those things you've already screenshot since she's putting the work into it. Now you're retargeting them once a month. And then you have them in there. So it's another touch point to continue
Yeah.
to touch them. So that would be another option for you to maybe ramp up and get a little bit more business from all the hard work. Because this is the thing that sucks. I do the same thing. I put all this hard work into Instagram, into YouTube, and then it's like, where's all the business?
Yeah,
Right?
I definitely let a lot of things slip through. Like there's DM. So now I don't know if the business has it. I'm sure it does. There's an option for DMs to sort by unread or unanswered. So I always do that. I try to do it like a couple times a week, but I've definitely left some people unanswered for like days, and I'm like, oh no, like they probably messaged someone else by now. So that's one of the things, like it's very important to kind of stay on top of it and look for DMs. And I've had DM requests from realtors like or other people saying they have a referral and I take like 5 hours or something to answer and then they gave it to somebody else. So a lot of this DMs and Instagram is you have to kind of be urgent with the questions because when people want something, they want it like right away.
You should almost have your assistant and your DMs monitoring your DMs, Sonia.
I know.
Sony's like, another thing, Jeremy, stop it.
I've thought about doing that, but I just right now I kind of want to keep it like myself, but maybe eventually I'll need to do it. But
Nice. What other questions, Dan? What other questions do you have, Charles? What other questions, Keely? What questions do you have here? Because we're coming about like 10, 15 minutes left. So I want to get to all the questions that maybe you have, what we can answer while we have such a phenomenal Instagram star lit. Starlet, I like that. Man, I'm quick sometimes.
Thank you.
Drop those comments in. If you're finding value, just drop a 1 in the chat as well, especially you, Dan. I know Dan's learning everything. Dan is so slow when it comes to learning how to do technology. See, he did like 9 ones. So I'm just kidding. Dan and I, so real quick history, Dan and I started doing YouTube about the same time. And we were always not really competition with each other, but always helping each other. And our YouTube channels both blew up at the same time. And we both started getting a ton of business. And it was because of the collaboration. We were trying to figure out who was doing it better. Face on your thumbnails, face off your thumbnails. And I have such an ugly face and Dan has such a pretty face that I just kept saying face off. So, and Dan kept winning because he has such a pretty face. Anyway, all right, what questions we got? Charles Celine says, from when you started posting consistently, how long did it take to you to get results, and when and what would you tweak over time? Great question.
So I started so I was at like 7,800 or something followers in April, and now I'm at like 18.9. So I started kind of seeing results within the first couple months. Really, it was like kind of that 90-day marker, I would say. And people ask questions right away. People DM me right away, but I think it probably took around 90 days to kind of hit off from it. What is here?
You know what's interesting is, so I didn't really tweak, but what I did was actually focus on being uber consistent about the information, like being up to date on what's happening, information and news. So with my Instagram, I started really being uber consistent with the news information. It's super easy for me to do that because all I do is every single morning, Austin Business Journal sends me the top 5 articles. And from there's always something that's related to what I talk about. And so it's so easy to then just take that into ChatGPT and go, okay, give me a 30-second script for this or a 10-second script for this, and give me the most important information that somebody would want to know. And it puts out a thing and I read it and I go, okay, that whole thing sucks. But now I just remembered what it said. And so I put it in Jeremy's voice. And those, I have one that's like at now almost 70,000 views. And every time I open my phone, it's like 30 more followers, 40 more followers, and it's just from one. And so, and everything else is now starting to get a little bit more views and interaction as well. And it's because I've been uber consistent with it. And that's only maybe 3 weeks. So I'm curious to see where it goes over 90 days. But I like that because, you're talking 2 months. I met you and saw you in REVB last year. So for you to go from REVB last year, doing okay on Instagram, to now, what do we say? This year, you're out of the 7 contracts that you already have at the beginning of the year, 4 of them are for Instagram.
And that's
Is that what you said?
closing. They're not even
Closed.
closings. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So we're in February, 7 closings already, 4 of them from Instagram. How crazy is it? Would you like that? Right? Put a hand raise in the chat if you'd like that.
Is she
Next
beating you?
everybody can beat me. It's fine.
well,
It's fine.
I don't think so. But
I enjoy helping agents.
no,
Awesome.
and I have some that are pending too, that are from Instagram as well. I didn't include that in the number, but yeah, it's definitely like, it's been the latter half of 2023 that it really kind of took off, but it was about 50% of my business last year is from Instagram. And I did about 13 mil, just under 13.
There's somebody here. Sorry, housekeeping's knocking. They're coming to see if I'm okay. That's amazing. That's a lot of transactions just from one lead source.
Mhm. Yeah, and
That's
it's free.
great.
That's the best
And
part.
it's free.
It's free,
It's
yeah.
just your time, right? Now, I could see where if you hired a videographer and maybe had the videographer go through and shoot all the homes for you, and then you just did the beginning parts of each one where you could really ramp up and do 2, 3 a day. But uh, I wouldn't mess with it. I wouldn't pay more because I'm a big proponent of free.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I mean, you're driving there anyways. Filming the video takes like 5 minutes. It's really the drive time that really does anything. But I have thought about doing something like that where I just do a green screen intro and then the videographer like films the house. But I haven't tested that out. I don't know if it'll do as well.
So for on YouTube, what I started doing was instead of me, I was going to every listing that we were shooting and I doing an intro and outro for each video. So, and then voiceovering the rest. What we started doing is having my videographer just go shoot the house and then send me the floor plan, like from Weston Homes or whatever. And then I would just voice over the whole thing. And that channel is actually doing well. I've gotten a few leads. I've kind of pulled back on that and I'm focusing more on the agent stuff and helping agents. So, but that channel, so Raj Sahu here in Austin, he brought on an agent recently and he had 0 on YouTube, and they did that same exact thing. They just paid somebody to go from house to house to house, and he's voiceovering. He told me this month alone, he's already got 25,000 views on YouTube, which is crazy hard to do in such a short amount of time. And he's not having to run around town. He's getting business from it. He's already at like 200 subscribers. His name's Seth Copel, and he's already getting business from it. So that is a model that works. So people love the property tours. So if you're listening, the one thing that you're hearing is be uber consistent, do the property tours, just get out and go do it.
Yeah. And I
What
think
are you
it's
learning so far? Drop a comment below. Go ahead.
I think I've gotten a lot of messages where people said it's like more fun to scroll on and watch my videos than to scroll on Zillow. Like people are always scrolling on Zillow looking at houses. So I think everyone's either like dreaming about the next house they're gonna buy, or they're currently looking for a house or something like that. So that's why I think the property tour content does so well, is people can be watching it even if they're not ready yet. So that's a
Amazing.
good thing.
Amazing. So, all right, we have 4 minutes left. Drop your questions right now. Get them out so we can get this done. Okay. Sorry, I jumped in a few minutes ago. Would consistency be the main key to your IG success? Question 1.
Yeah, I think so. I think definitely post every day, or whatever you can kind of keep up consistently. And I know you guys are say the same thing about YouTube, is try to put out quality content as often as you can, really. I mean, if you can do like 3 a day, that's great if it's quality, but just whatever you can kind of maintain.
Here's the next part of that question, and I think this is the uber important question that I forgot to ask. So thank you for Tim for asking this question. Are ads necessary to keep greater gain in followers and lead conversion? So are you running ads on Instagram?
No, I'm not. So yeah, it's all free. It's literally all free. Well, besides if you buy the gimbal, but besides that, it's all free, no ads. I have in the past, like before, honestly, I don't think I've run an ad since I've started doing these tours, but I have in the past for like listings, just to kind of tell sellers I'm running ads basically. But no, I don't run any ads.
Can I
Tim
mention a
says,
quick comparison, Jeremy?
go ahead.
This is so great because last Friday, Corey Phillips and is it Chad were talking about some different tactics on Instagram, and they do run paid ads. So I think it's great that, Kseniya, you're mentioning that either format will work with or without paid ads. And then I also wanted to mention another thing when you were talking about the green screen image voiceover on top of your post. Corey Phillips has seen some success with that, I think. And I think it's great when you're as busy as you and Jeremy, that when you can't make it out maybe all the time to the actual property, that your videographer can get that recording for you. And then Corey Phillips just puts himself like in the bottom of the screen as a little talking head. And it also allows him to think about his script a little bit cleaner versus the raw script and like walking through a house. But I found that really encouraging, I think, for folks who want to take the time to think about what they're saying instead of maybe walking through and slipping up a little bit over their words, which we all do. But yeah, I just wanted to offer that quick comparison and for everybody to go back to these recordings to catch that stuff.
Yeah, I ended up watching that episode too. But I think that was a good point you said about the slipping up. I never like talk. I don't even know what I'm gonna say when I'm at the house. I say it. I sit when I'm done filming it. I sit in front of my computer, the MLS. I have it pulled up. I like read through their description because they'll point out certain features, and then I don't write a script or anything. I just read through it, and then I just do my voiceover. And every once in a while, you have to like redo it again because I say stupid stuff, but yeah, like I kind of wing it in a way. So I don't do it in person. If I did it in person, which I do for clients, like when I'm walking through the house, I'll do the same tours and I'll say like, oh, there's like a stain on the wall or whatever. I'll do that live. But I don't know enough to say when I'm in person, like we can't just come up with all this stuff like right away when we're walking through it. So I think that's a good point, is the voiceover does make things a lot easier.
So Chantel asked, Tim, I'll get back to the rest of your question if we have time, but Chantel asked, what have you found a length of reel that is optimal for views and engagement?
So Instagram limits you at 1 minute 30. So I really just, as long as it takes to film the whole house, I haven't found a shorter one to be better. I've had long ones go viral. I've had short ones go viral. It's just kind of, as long as the house fits a good, is aesthetically pleasing, or it's something for me, some viral content is like a really expensive house in a rough neighborhood. People go crazy over that in the comments. So I try to throw those in as well, just because I know they'll go viral. Or like a really expensive house in like the middle of nowhere, those go viral. So I try to kind of do some ones that I know will go viral, but I haven't found a length to really matter that much. It's just the quality of the house and the quality of the video. And sometimes there's ones that I think will do really well and they don't do well, and it's surprising. But usually the ones that I think will go viral tend to go viral.
It's an interesting question that Tim asked. He said he finds it daunting sometimes to continually be funny, but he thought it'd be a good idea to wrap the buyer process, something he hasn't done yet. How could I leverage this idea to expand engagement? Sorry for lots of questions. I would say just what I've seen, you're gonna have to be uber consistent with wrapping you're probably not gonna have one go viral right away, right? So you're gonna have to be uber consistent with it, and then it'll take off. But that's just
Well,
my
yeah. Do you guys know, like, has anyone seen Brad the Realtor's content?
Yeah, he's in San Antonio as well. Yeah, he like cusses the entire time. Look at this shitty house. Look at, he's hysterical. But
He's very,
yeah,
yeah, so he's very funny, but like I have a friend who just started doing that kind of content here in Tampa, and his videos have gotten super viral. But the thing is with something like rapping and something like that is you have to constantly be putting out like new creative zingers, new creative like lyrics. And I think it'll be hard to put out as much content as you need to if you are constantly doing something super creative. That's why I like the home tours, is that yeah, Tampa Turf is who I'm talking about. Chandler, yeah. So it's my type of content is like super easy to replicate because you literally just talk about the house. Like it's what we do every day. You don't have to be super creative. It's just walking through the house. So if you want to be super creative and you're that type of person, like awesome, good for you. It's just a little bit harder to kind of stay consistent with that kind of content, I think.
amazing. Sonia shared the survey, so definitely fill out the survey for me if you will. And then we'll get the recording of this up. I'm in Colorado today, so I will try to get this up and out by Monday for everyone. Kseniya, thank you so much. I've learned a lot. I learned that I need to be on CapCut and make my life a hell of a lot easier. I try to do things the hard way. So big thank you to you, and I can't wait to collaborate more with you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to DM me or reach out to Jeremy and he can ask me.
Yeah, her Instagram I posted a few times. It's Kseniya dot. I can never say your last name.
Oh,
Cornaboba.
no, it's actually Kseniya.Tampa Realtor. So it's pretty
Tampa
easy.
Realtor. All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Kseniya dot Tampa Realtor. If you want to DM her privately, there you go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.